Hey guys, jtmoffroad here. Today I want to show you something. I want to show you my onboard air system. So we'll go ahead and take things apart so you can see better and open things up, get into it and start explaining stuff. So let's start taking stuff apart. Alrighty, got everything opened up. It's a lot brighter so you can actually see. So my onboard air system is as follows. This Sandin air compressor is used for the AC system. Mine didn't have AC with it, but I had a buddy that gave me a pump to use. So it's about 25 bucks, and I had to get a longer belt that went over this. Some people need a new pulley that goes right here, apparently, from what I've read online. Mine already had it, so I didn't have to worry about that. So there's a couple different ways of getting this inside stuff lubricated, and you can either tear it apart and grease it, or you can just oil it every time you use it. I just chose to oil it because I don't want to tear things apart. I just wanted to go pretty easy. So what that involved was, on the inlet side, I just put a little filter on and had a series of fittings that go in the back. So what I do is I had a T that comes off with an elbow, and every time I go to use the onboard air system, I take the cap off, squirt some oil in there, and then close the cap. So then that'll pull that air, or that'll pull that oil in there and oil things up. The reason you need that in there is the refrigerant that was in here before, that was used for the AC, has some sort of lubricant in it that keeps everything lubricated inside. So once you remove the refrigerant, then you need to have something that's going to keep everything moving inside. So after that, on the discharge, I have a steel leader that comes off and runs over here, and I have a check valve to make sure that there's no air that will follow back and go back into the pump. So it always keeps all the air heading that way. So you can see here, there's actually a lot of space that I could be putting a lot of fittings and stuff. I tried that, and that was terrible. I was just using the cheap Harbor Freight air filters, and in the summertime, when it would get real hot, it would actually melt those filters and break them, and then, you know, I wouldn't be able to use my onboard air because I wouldn't have filtered air at that point. So since it's so close, all that heat is just tearing things apart, and it's not good. So you have to get everything further away. Also, what I did was put in that stainless steel leader that was it used to just be a rubber hose. The rubber hose that was on there was actually getting quite squishy in the back. So the stainless steel works a whole lot better, and I think it helps dissipate the heat better. So we have this line that goes over here down underneath the radiator and pops back up here, goes through a metal filter. This is all metal, very solid. I picked it up for about 50 bucks over at Rural King, and so far I have no complaints with this. It holds up a whole lot better. One thing with my Jeep, since it's a YJ, the way it's set up, the horns used to be right here, and I wanted to keep those both, so I had to make a bracket to kind of like push everything up, and then mounted the one horn off the bracket. So it's a little tight. I would have liked it better on the other side, but I want the system to work better. So after it goes through the filter, it comes down into this manifold, and the first thing on the manifold I have is a safety relief valve, and then after that's the pressure gauge, after that's the pressure switch, and then we go back to the back of the Jeep where the storage tank is. So go back there. This is a storage tank. So the air comes into the tank and then goes out, and it goes out to this guy right here. So that's my back port, and then the line continues back along the frame rail back up to the front. Comes up through here, goes back down towards the front of the Jeep, and there's my front port. So one thing I did that was different than some of the other systems that I've seen is I put a bypass in. So the reason I put that in is, say one of the lines that goes to the back of the Jeep bursts or breaks or something. So rather than all the air still go back to the storage tank and then coming back up to the front, I can actually, these valves are actually shut right now, but I'll shut this valve and then open this one, so the air will still go through the filter, down through the pressure gauge, the pressure switch, all that stuff, go over here and come back up to the front. So then I still have that. So that actually works out pretty nice. It's kind of a fail-safe, and pretty proud of that one. I like that idea. That's kind of the onboard air in a nutshell. The one thing that I did was the air gets put out pretty nice with the sand and compressor, but if you're trying to fill up tires faster, it helps if you kind of get on the throttle a little bit. So what I did was put in hand throttle, which I've read on the forums and is widely done by a lot of people. And so all that is it's just a bicycle shifter. And what I did was mount it on the shifter here. So it goes up, it's just a cable that runs up to the front, goes on the throttle body. So I have it tightened up so whenever I pull on the shifter, it'll stay in place. If I want to set this at a certain RPM, say I want to do like 2 grand, I'll just click it to where it's 2 grand, and then it puts out air a whole lot faster. You can use that for a lot more stuff too. It's really helpful on steep hills and rocks and stuff. So rather than trying to 3-foot a whole lot of stuff, I can concentrate using the clutch and the brake with my feet, and then I can use the throttle with my hand. So it's pretty handy. Those are actually the 2 favorite things that I've done to this, the onboard air and the hand throttle. I guess I should probably tell you about how the pressure switch works. There's a wire that is associated, well, a couple wires that are associated with the air compressor. So the wires go off of that and go over to the pressure switch, and then there's a wire that goes from the pressure switch inside the cab, and that's where I have a switch. Oh man, you can't see anything. Let's get my old light framed. Oh, much better. So the switch on the left is for the onboard air. So there's a wire that comes from the pressure switch that goes to that, and then there's a wire that goes from that up to the battery. You can actually hear the clutch engaging whenever you hit the switch. So what happens is you turn that switch on and it kicks the air compressor on. Once the pressure reaches what the switch is rated for, the switch sends a signal and tells the air compressor to shut off. So then once the air pressure drops below that again, say when I'm airing up tires, then the air compressor will kick back on, and then it's just a continuous cycle of on and off. Another thing I should let you guys know about is the hose that you're going to use. I've heard good things about Tractor Supply. They have some pretty flexible hose that's good up to or down to some pretty cold temperatures. I used Harbor Freight hose, and I'm not very pleased. I'm probably not going to get very good shots, but some of these connections that I did, a lot of it's cracking already. And this is December 24th, and I've had the onboard air since let's say about April or May. So I haven't had the hose very long, and it's already starting to deteriorate. So that's one of the things I'm going to be doing, is changing all the hose to something little better quality. Hopefully it'll last longer and last in, you know, warm and cold temps. I'll fire up the Jeep and show you kind of how everything works, and I'll show you the comparison of using the just normal idle as opposed to using it with the throttle being jumped up a little bit. Alright, so I just turned the Jeep on. I'm going to go ahead and switch on the onboard air, so you should be able to see the gauge start moving up. So I just kicked the onboard air on right now, and the gauge is moving very slowly. You'll see it's just up to 20 pounds right now. So I'm going to turn up the throttle and we'll see how much faster it goes up. So I'm about 17 grand right now, or 1700 RPM. You'll see it's going up a whole lot faster. So the compressor just kicked off, so the gauge is up. I have some leaks, so the needle's going to start going down. But you can see I'm standing away from the Jeep right now. I don't have my hand on the throttle or anything. So the hand throttle is a real great add. I just use the little flexible coil hose. Fits real nice in the bag. And then here's my tire gauge. So you can see when I press the gauge, puts out air pretty nice. So we'll go ahead and kick her off. It'll still have some air. Oh, listen to it. Where's that at? Got ourselves a little leak there. Feels like it's coming through the threads. So, gonna have to take that apart and clean that up sometime. Put some new thread stuff in. So once we fix that, that'll help. So you can see it's already down to about 60 pounds. So, and we'll kick the garage light back on, close the door. Let's go ahead and bleed out the system, get all the air out. So that's pretty much it. My little bag, go ahead and put my stuff in. But I think it's a great ad. I got 33 by 12.5 inch tires, and normally I air down to about 10 pounds when I go. And to fill it back up to about 30 pounds, probably takes about a minute and a half per tire, thereabout, especially with the throttle up to about 1500 or 2000 RPM. Alright guys, so that's it for today. If there's anything you want me to go back over in more detail, or need help, you know, getting parts or something like that, and you know where things go, let me know in the comments. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. Share with your friends. Tell everybody about my sweet Jeep, and make sure to watch my videos. So we'll see you next time.